Hi, my name's Jon Hamar. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm originally from Washington State, a town called Kennewick, Washington. It's in the lower right-hand corner of Washington State, and I play the double bass.
Cool. All right, so what were some of your earliest musical influences?
So my earliest musical influences, at least the ones I can remember, were my parents. My father was at one time a very gifted classical pianist, and at least when I remember him playing piano, he would play like boogie woogie style piano, and so I kind of grew up watching him play and I was fascinated by his left hand and what was happening there. And my mom also, she sang and played oboe, and so she, both of them collectively had a huge influence on the importance of music in my life.
And do you remember, when did you start playing the bass?
Started playing the bass in 5th grade, I think it was, very poorly in 5th grade, but and again that was kind of motivated by my mom, and at some point I had decided I wanted to play the electric bass guitar, and there was a jazz band in the middle school that I had seen perform, and I decided that I don't know how I made these connections, but I decided I wanted to play the electric bass in this big band in middle school. And somehow I got in touch with the teacher, and the teacher there said, cool, you can try to audition to play the electric bass, but if you play the electric bass in the big band, you have to play string bass in the orchestra. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to do that. But the first step of that was signing up through school to play the double bass in 5th grade, which is pretty early. Yeah, that's how it all started. That's where I started, at least.
And at what point did you get into jazz?
So when I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, I started playing in that jazz band, and that was, again, I wasn't very serious about it at that point. I got a lot more serious about music in high school, and that's when basically the way I really got hooked on jazz was that there was a person working at the high school that gave me a cassette tape of the first Ray Brown trio record that was released, which was called Bam Bam Bam, and I didn't really know what was happening, but I knew this bass player was ridiculous, and I was first just mesmerized by this bass player, and then very soon after, the piano player and the drummer, Gene Harris and Jeff Hamilton. So that was really the first moment I can remember hearing jazz and really thinking man, I got to figure out how this works, what's happening here. So yeah.
And so once you got into jazz, who were some of your earliest influences, particularly in jazz?
So yeah, early on I had a lot of influences. The Ray Brown trio was one of them. I listened a lot to Miles Davis quintet, a lot to organ players, strangely, Jimmy Smith, Jimmy McGriff. My dad was really into B.B. King, so I ended up listening to a lot of blues and a lot of music that's maybe not jazz but improvisation related music. And I don't know if I can complete a list. It'd be huge, all the people that I was listening to, but